So I'm back home in New Zealand on holiday, and I brought with me the OnePlus 3T to review, and this phone has been my daily driver now for the last almost 3 weeks, and I must say this is one of the best that I have seen out of China. So let's have a look at this in greater detail, and you'll see just why I like it so much. So spec-wise, the OnePlus 3T has it covered. It has a powerful Snapdragon 821 processor with Adreno 530 graphics, 6GB of RAM, which is a very large capacity there, 64 to 128 gigabytes of UFS 2.0 storage. There's wireless AC, 4G, takes dual nano SIMs, and has a large 3,400 mAh battery. So to cover the design of it, we've got a 16 megapixel camera. That's an upgrade over the OnePlus 3. Ambient light sensor, proximity sensor, then the earpiece. Down the bottom, a front-facing fingerprint reader, which also acts as the home button. Now, this is a touch-only button, although it does look like it's a physical button. It isn't. Left and right of that, menu keys. On the right-hand side, there is a dual SIM tray that takes 2 nano SIMs. Unfortunately, no micro SD card support. Below that is the power button. On the left, there's a switch for the profiles, whether you want to have general, silent, or do not disturb. Then the volume rocker, which is made out of metal. On the bottom, we have 2 Torx screws holding in the rear housing, the loudspeaker, microphone, 3.5mm headphone jack, and a Type-C port there, which does support dash charging, which is a charging technology that is very quick indeed. I managed to get up to 55% in only 30 minutes. And lastly, on the rear of the phone, a 16 megapixel camera that can shoot up to 4K video. It has optical image stabilization and an f2.0 aperture, just like the front camera. Below it is an LED flash, and above it, a secondary microphone used for video and noise cancellation. For security, we have a fingerprint reader down the bottom, and now this works flawlessly, as you'll see. Just place your finger or your thumb there, it unlocks instantly. There's no need to wake the mobile up first, and I find it works 10 out of 10 times for me. Very happy with the fingerprint reader performance. So the build quality is great. I have no complaints whatsoever. It's light, it's thin, easy access to the buttons, and it's very nice touch to have that switch there to control the sound modes on there, so you can easily flick that into silent without having to actually look at the screen. Something I wish more phones would have. The only thing that could slightly bug me is the camera module does stick out a little bit, but it's understandable considering that this is an optical image stabilized camera and the fact that it is a very slim body that it has. So the screen is a 5.5-inch optic AMOLED panel with very nice colors on it, slightly oversaturated being an AMOLED, and it does have over 400 nits of brightness, so it's very bright. Now, if you're not happy with the way the screen is calibrated, there are settings in there that you can actually go along and change that to sRGB or a cooler or warmer white to your own personal preference. And even in direct sunlight here, I can still make out that text on the screen just fine. So it's a very good all-rounded display, I feel, that OnePlus have used. Onto audio quality, I find the 3.5mm jack output's really good. It's clean, it's clear, it is also loud, very good quality. I do have one minor complaint, and that is their voice calls. They seem to sound a little bit muffled, as if the noise cancellation is just sometimes too aggressive. So it's got a downward firing loudspeaker like other phones here. I'm going to quickly compare the loudspeaker's volume against a Galaxy S7. Not quite as loud as my Galaxy S7, which is a shame, so it's just a minor complaint here. I wish the loudspeaker was a little bit louder there, or they had incorporated a secondary speaker, or even used the earpiece as a loudspeaker, like I've seen done on Lee Echo's Lee Pro 3. So to launch the camera application, you can actually just double tap the power button, and that quick launches it. So you can see it has a familiar layout, the stock camera app here. The top upper right there, you can swap to the front-facing camera. On the upper left-hand side, you've got HDR. You can cycle between automatic or force that to on. High-quality shot. Flash modes there. Now, the shutter rate is very quick. These kind of lighting conditions here, it's instantaneous. Down below, we have to select to go into video modes, manual mode, or panorama.
Now I wish there was an option just to start recording video straight away without having to go through this, which is a slight annoyance. So in manual mode here, you can see we've got various options for controlling ISO, white balance, compensation, shutter rate as well, and then the focus there right at the top can be set to auto or infinity or your macro shots there. So in video mode, you only get two options here, and that's 4K while you're setting your resolution. We do have 1080p 60 frames per second as well, and grid, of course, you can turn that on and off. Now you do have a slow motion, which is 720p only, maximum resolution, and only the option to turn off the grid there. So let's have a look at some photo samples from the front and rear cameras, as well as some video. So the rear camera has an f2.0 aperture, just like the front. Shoots up to 4K video, and I find the video quality is really good. Flagship quality. Now originally the sound was a little bit muffled, but after the latest OTA update, I've noticed that it has improved things. It sounds a bit clearer now. And it does have optical image stabilization that works really well. As you can see, I'm shooting at the moment handheld, and no complaints at all with the 4K video quality. So the front-facing camera is 16 megapixels. That's been upgraded over the OnePlus 3, and I find the quality to be perfectly acceptable. Only thing that happens is when you're in lower lighting conditions, the video does tend to get a little bit grainy, and it only shoots in 1080p max and not 4K, which the sensor might actually be able to support.
When I received my 3T, it came with Android 6.0 and the performance was good, but I did notice that there were a few tiny little micro stutters here and there, for example, in the gallery application. But now I'm on Android 7, so just connecting it up to the internet, it will tell me straight away that there's an update, and I installed that, which was about 1 gigabyte. It did take a little while, and I can confirm now that performance is really quite amazing. It is good, it's super quick, it's very fast, and I haven't noticed any stutters or lag anymore now. We do have an ample 6 gigabytes of RAM, as mentioned in the beginning there with the specs, which is plenty. If you want to do lots of multitasking, this is the phone and chipset for that. Now the good thing about the ROM is you get just stock Google applications, the kind of stuff that you would see really on a Nexus or the Google Pixel phone, and it's not full of bloatware. Like often with manufacturers like Samsung, they force their own bloated launcher upon us, which is TouchWiz, of course. And here you don't have that. You get essential, what I feel is essential applications, and you don't have all this real crap on there, apart from maybe the community application, which is, you could say, useful as well. It really is a bloat-free ROM, a very light ROM, a light launcher, and it's really quick. I do like the whole user experience. The UI on this is great, and one of the best, I feel. Here's Antutu 6.2.7, a very good score. Almost, well, I'd say one of the highest I've actually seen. Very good performance. Now, benchmarks aren't everything, but the performance of this mobile, as mentioned, is really good. And this is the base mark score 2, which is quite high. That's it there for benchmarks, apart from the internal storage, which is UFS 2 spec. Very quick, so 400 megabytes per second reads, and almost 200 megabytes writes, which is really good, very fast. That will not be a bottleneck, the storage. And here's my wireless speeds. So I'm down in New Zealand. I don't have that quick fiber optic line anymore, but I managed to get speeds that I could get out of my laptop. Very similar there, so no problems. And the range is also quite good. And here I was testing out 4G. Again, it's a different network down here in New Zealand. Not as fast as what I can get in Spain, but acceptable speeds. And the signal, everything seems fine there. GPS, I could lock on to GLONASS, as well as your standard GPS satellites. No problems with the performance, working just fine. And onto the battery life. So I can make about 3 days of my own personal medium to light use. Here I was actually giving the battery quite a working because I was running PC Mark. I was playing Mortal Kombat 5 as well for some time, and I had the screen brightness set at about 250 nits. And I did get just over 6 hours of screen on time, which I feel is perfectly fine for this size of mobile, and the 3400 milliamp hour battery in there. Now the charge times, it does have dash charging, which is both quick and also a bit of a negative because you need to carry that charger around with you. So if you have a third party or different charger on there that's maybe a Qualcomm one, it's not going to give you those speedy, fast charge times, which is a little disappointing. So you're always going to have to carry around that dash charger, but it is quick. You can fully charge the phone in around 1 hour and 46 minutes, I think it was, and you get up to 57, 58% in only 30 minutes, which is quite good. Gaming performance, thanks to the Adreno 530 and a 1080p screen, is really fast and fluid, and we've also got 6 gigabytes of RAM that is going to really help out. I haven't noticed any major lags or stutters in games, so all of the new and demanding titles will be perfectly playable on the 3T. So there we have it. I think the OnePlus 3T is one of the best mobile phones out of China at the time of this review. So it's very fast thanks to the Snapdragon 821 processor. The UI I really like because it has almost no bloat in there, very quick and snappy, and it's almost like stock Android really. So I do like that it's got a kind of a Nexus feel to it, or Google Pixel feel, the ROM, which is definitely one of the key features of it. Now the screen, the 5.5-inch optic AMOLED panel looks really, really nice to me. Not a bad screen at all. It's bright, it's got good colors, and you can also customize that to your own liking. And the build quality, it's slim, it's light, well made, definitely feels like a premium phone. Camera quality as well, very good, takes a nice photo. The low light isn't the greatest, but I do believe that the 4K video quality happens to be one of the best I've seen out of a Chinese mobile phone, where they often lack. Now, when it comes to complaints, I've only a few, and that is the call quality sometimes sounds a little bit muffled, as if they're using noise cancellation. It's just a little too aggressive, and that also passes through into video. At times I found, at least on the earlier firmwares, that the video audio sounded, again, a little bit muffled there. And lastly, the loudspeaker, I just wish it was a little bit louder. But overall, this is a really good phone, and it's got a thumbs up from me. This is one of the best you can get at the moment out of China. Thank you so much for watching this review, and hopefully I will catch you back in the channel. If you're new to the channel and haven't already, why not think about subscribing? I will have plenty more reviews up and coming.